given a lot of last classes over the years. And the interesting thing is that they're never the last. Nor is there any such thing, really. It's only part of the process of endless change. I always reference Rudy and his passing when I talk about endings, because it really did feel like it was a final act, that would be the end of having my teacher in my life when he was killed in a plane crash. Forgive me if this is overly repetitive, but as I spent time in the meditation room while all the other students went upstairs to congregate, and I just kept bowing down to Rudy and saying thank you and all that, he goosed me. I don't understand how he goosed me, and I don't understand what it meant or where it came from, but it was as close to a physical experience that one could have, and it was just me in the meditation room with Rudy, and it was Rudy. And I basically knew he may not be here, but he goosed me. And honestly, the losing of a teacher, the departure of a teacher, is more a beginning than it is an ending. Because the real truth of any spiritual journey is it's your journey. It's not you and your teacher's journey. It's nobody holding your hand. It's nobody giving you directive. It's just you, and then what you discover you to be. And the best thing about a teacher's departure is that it sets you on your own real path, assuming you really want to go on it. A lot of people only want to be there with the teacher and seem to fail rather dramatically once the teacher departs. But in truth, the greatest gift a teacher gives anybody is leaving. Bless you. The thing you discover is who the teacher really is in your life. Embodied, they're a separate person. But mostly, they're a person who has worked very hard over a period of time or lifetimes, I don't know, to be, if you will, sensitive to, open to, not separate from something that is hard to describe, but we can just call it transcendent. Something greater than the day-to-day. They are open to something of another dimension, a higher dimension. Teachings from ascended masters, if you want to use terms like that. They are open to something that many of us living the day-to-day life don't know about, sometimes don't care to know about, but often yearn to experience. And a teacher becomes the stimulant that allows you to begin to look in or up, however you want to describe it, and to begin to realize that the material plane of your life does not explain your life. It does not contain your life. It does not fulfill your life. The material plane, to put it rather simply, is a rental space. You come here for a period, you have and you acquire and you enjoy stuff and then you have to return it. Anything that brings you ultimate joy and peace and pleasure is not yours. You cannot keep it, and you will have to learn how to let it go. The teacher brings to you a voice that basically says, let it go. It doesn't say don't have it. It doesn't say don't acquire it, don't reach for it, don't have a full and exciting and magnificent existence during your lifetime. But keep a perspective that lets you know it is very limited in its duration. It has a beginning, middle, and an end. And yet it is part of a universe in which beginnings, middles, and ends do not exist. And you have to figure that out. Your teacher can point you in that direction, can talk about these things, can pontificate about all these things as much as you like, but in the end, it's just you and it, and then, if you're lucky, a discovery that there's no difference between you and it. They are not two things. Rudy really set me on a path, or helped me focus where I was headed. And the thing he really presented me with was a practice, which was sitting still for a certain amount of time, kind of 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day. He gave me a series of focal points, which we call chakras, to try to bring my attention to, knowing that they were, in a way, sacred pathways into something both deeply interior and profoundly aware of the outside. They were the pathways between the infinite outer and the infinite inner, and they're in everybody. They're in all of us. And he showed me how to go into these spaces, how to hold my breath, especially in my heart and my belly and my gut, and still my mind so deeply that it started to resonate. And I started to feel these spaces not as constructs, but as space, as feeling intimate, emotional spaces, almost musical. And every one of them had symphonic beauty and aesthetic beauty. Then the more I went into these chakras, and the more I delved into them, the more I saw how they were deeper ways of seeing and being in the material world. That they added to life, they deepened life, they uplifted life. And I found practicing and practicing and practicing made me better and better and better at this awareness. Practicing sort of evolves into something called doing, where you bring the awareness into play. You use it in life. You use this ability to touch your voice and to find the core of speech and use it in the world to express yourself to others and to yourself. But as you express yourself to others and you really open that channel, and it really is a channel, you really do find an ability to be articulate. And as I often say, to be able to say what you feel and what you think to other people. It is the space from which artists can contribute to the world. It's the space in which salesmen make deals every day. It's a very functional, real, meaningful space. If you open it and elaborate it and allow it to grow and expand, it will give you everything that selling yourself can provide. If you open your third eye and you begin to see life with an open mind, you will have a perspective that will give you enormous capacity to understand the world you're in and to live it better. If you open your heart chakra, you will feel empathy for others and for yourself and for the journey that this represents. And it will allow you to be a contributor to and a helper of other people's lives, which is a gift. If you get your navel chakra really open, you will be able to intuit the world. You will have a feeling that go this way and not that way. There's a directive. It's a deep feeling and knowing. And if you can connect with that, you will discover you're being led in the world. This heart chakra, I call it a navigational center, but this is the driver of the ship down in your belly, and it wants to turn right. If you are really connected, if you are doing what one is supposed to do, it tells you navigationally turn right, you will turn right, and it will give you a direction that is shockingly powerful and essential to who you are. The sex chakra, which is about renewal, really represents the endless death and rebirth experience that happens to all human beings, because as you grow, parts of you fall away. None of you are in kindergarten anymore. You're not in first grade. You've graduated high school, college, wherever you've moved on. And the parts of you that were needed to do that fell away. The booster engines fall away, and you are this new being, this new entity. And the energy that guides that and allows and empowers the endless newness in you is in your sex chakra. And then the uplifting energy that carries you out of the entire drama of your life is at the base of your spine. It's this kundalini energy. And when it rises, because it knows how lucky it is, you experience this awe of being. Like it just, you feel so full and so vibrantly alive. This energy comes up and takes you out. And you feel through the top of your head as it opens up in its final upper chakra, you feel one with the universe. And you graduate from practice and doing into being. And being is what we're all learning to do. But the real important thing about being is it's not you being. The illusion of you being is a trap. It's not a bad trap, we all have to go through it, but it is a limitation on truth. And the real expansion of the level of being in life is the release of everything that you are into the totality of what is. And if you want to know the final stages of human experience, it's washing away all of that idea of who you are. It will just wash and wash. And if you want to see fear and terror and trembling, wait till it takes away the essence of you. Watch you don't know your shadow until it's the end of the ride. That's when the demons come out. That's when the dark side shows itself. You've done all this work and all this practice and all these doing things, and you've become this being, and you are this being, except there are all these little tiny corners of ownership, of exaltation, specialness, of me being that. You cannot end this life in the state of total realization with any part of you thinking, look what I did. Or, let me put it more simply. Yes, you can do that, but that I becomes magnified. That I is all there is. Look what I did. It's personal, it's impersonal. It is vast beyond all comprehension. It is singular, it is one, and it is all. And that's what we are, who we are, what we're doing, what this ride is about, as simply as I can put it. I am learning as I go, as you know. I don't pretend to have a perfect grasp on anything, but I have an expanding awareness. And it's teaching me every day. And I've had these understandings. I'll share them. I don't know that they mean anything to you, but I just know we're not here to become spiritual beings, but we are here to become human beings. And in the last 2 months of my life, which have been, as you know, beyond exhausting for me, it's hard culling and pulling everything together in your life, moving it around, shipping it elsewhere, and getting rid of many parts of it. And I talked last week about my failure as a Buddhist to be able to detach from stuff. But what I've come to in this life is an understanding that detachment is not supposed to be easy. The human journey does not say, goodbye. It's the opposite of that. It's a muscle, and it hurts. And you really feel when you let go of something, and you feel it so deeply that it breaks you apart. And that's its purpose. Detachment is not supposed to be, because what is that? What is that? Nothing. Like Rudy said, you can't let go of what you haven't had. And if you've had a lot, letting go is going to be a real effort. And if you've practiced long enough, and if you've been doing long enough, and if you've been being long enough, it will take care of the, I would say the final stuff, but I don't know that I have the hubris to say final anything, but it takes care of stuff you didn't even know needed to be taken care of. The emotional nostalgia of a life, the beauty of a life, and all the little things in it, and the funny little things in it that really never mean anything to you until you have to let them go. And then you let them go, and a part of you cracks open. And more of you cracks open. And it's all about, really, how much you have loved your life. How wonderful it's been. Letting go of something is not how can I put it? It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you a more open person. It makes you someone who has truly felt and known life and is learning to bid it farewell on some level. Piece by piece by piece. I'll tell you, I think it's easier to die and let the whole thing go than it is to let some of these little things that your granddaughter made or your mother gave you or whatever those things are. Those things have unbelievable weight. When it's time to let the whole thing go, okay, I did it. But giving these things away is an expansion of your capacity to know and love what you have had, what life was, what life is, and how truly precious and special everything is. And when you have that muscle really go, okay, you've done something. That comes from practice, it comes from doing, and it comes from being. And we're all in that. So letting go of a class, as we're doing today, of a practice, of a routine, of something that you've loved, is a breaking apart and a breaking down. If it's had depth in you, it'll be profound. If it's a kind of, oh, thank God I get my Sundays back, it'll be a different experience, truly. But it will have some resonance, and that resonance has to do with the depth of your work, the depth of your effort, how much you have reached out, and how much you've cared in this lifetime. And I would say the great lessons are: invest deeply, don't be afraid, or move with fear into fear. Don't let exhaustion take over. You can always make another effort, pretty much. Don't get lazy. Don't put it off till tomorrow. All of these old teachings They're very real. And you're going to find them reinforced by a million different things in the world, including, if I keep doing these talks, they'll be on tape and you can listen to these talks. But really, truly, it all comes from the same place, and everything I'm saying is not a Bruce thing, it's a you thing. It's all there, it's all inside you. No, nothing I'm saying isn't available to your own consciousness. It'll come up through you because we all connect to the exact same oneness. We all do that. And as I've been saying more and more in recent weeks and months, this is going to become more and more important. As the world becomes less stable, less amenable to some of our preferences, as climate changes, as politics change, as our environment changes, we are going to be needed to help ourselves and others. And service is the great aspect of teaching. Being available to others, not necessarily sitting in a chair or cross-legged and sitting and giving spiritual teaching. It's just reaching out to what's in front of you and serving it. Whoever and whatever it is, this is the ride we're on. We'll need to be reinforced in that ride. We have to become stronger in that capacity. And there will be a real value in your growth as a human being. There will be real value. You can take this on yourself. You guys are already exposed to this. Every weakness that comes up was an opportunity to turn it into a strength. Every fear that comes up is an opportunity to turn it into courage. You will find ways to move forward in this world, and you will discover that the world is not only waiting for you, it truly needs you. Each one of you, seriously. So, you know, I think I'm probably repeating myself endlessly now, but Hollywood has created this false idea of endings, especially happy ones. There are no endings at all. There are just transitions. And we are leaving a world that we never owned. We've never owned a thing in it. We borrowed it, rented it, been gifted it, but we have to pass it all on. And we move on free of everything in the end. Practice that. Practice it, do it, and then be it, and watch what happens. It is an exquisite journey, and you can take it as far as you want to take it, or you can leave it till another lifetime, if that's how it works. I have a feeling it does. You can even, wait 200 million more lifetimes. They won't be any different than this, just different versions of it. But if you really want to learn the lesson of manifested reality, practice, do, be. Grow into being, and you will be liberated by that. Thank you guys for coming. I deeply appreciate the 5 years we've had here. It's been, I cannot tell you, you've been one of the greatest groups of people I've ever been able to meet in my life. I've had great students. I don't want to, analyze which is better and which is less, but this has been a great, great, great group of people. And I feel so lucky to have been here and found you and to have shared this time. And as I've said, God willing, I will be back. Blanche and I will come back when we can. Shelley and Susie have provided homes for us, Shelley and Mark, and I'm grateful for that. So we will try to come back and teach when we can, and you'll all be welcome. And if you're still sitting and doing, come. And if you're not, or even if you haven't done anything, still come. Happy to see you. And this practice will continue. There's some vague possibility of next weekend teaching, but it's going to have to be a late email. I really can't say where we're going to be or what's going to happen. I think this house will be almost empty, but it may not. And if it is still available as a class space, then we'll use it. If it's not, then we may go to your house. Or we just may just say enough. So,
Bruce,
yes.
if I may, a number of us want to express our appreciation to you and to Blanche for so generously sharing your home and your teaching with us. So we've got a couple of gifts we want to share.
Wow. Should we document this? Coming over.
We just wanted to give you something else to pack.
Yeah.
So this is for you and Blanche.
And then there's a book here
Oh my God.
where people have expressed their appreciation and their thanks and their thoughts. I suspect it's not entirely complete. Who here has not signed the book? All right, so there'll be an opportunity for people to sign the book, but we want you to
No.
take this with you.
What's on the cover?
It says, "Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground." From Rumi.
Well, thank you. Again, I just thank you all for this big turn here. I truly thank you all. You have no idea, guys, how you get me here. Truly, 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 thank you. And I give myself the last word. I really love you, and that includes everyone in this room, and actually everybody who's sitting on the other side of this lens. And it's not an abstract; it's a real thing. Love.